to Jamil Jaffer, Director of the National Security, Law and Policy Program at George Mason University and former Chief Counsel and Senior Advisor for the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Mr. Jaffer, thank you for being with me this morning. We're looking at live pictures. You can see there Hamas militants gathering in the square, lots of them. Really, what is this telling you? To me, it's an organized, almost show of force here before this hostage exchange.
I think that's exactly right. I think Hamas wants to demonstrate that it still has military capacity, even though that capacity has been significantly weakened by Israel.
Exactly. What are you expecting to see? Do you expect this to go as smoothly as last week?
Well, I think that's the hope. Obviously, if this exchange happens, you'll have 7 Israeli hostages released of the 33 that are supposed to be released in the next few weeks, one group every week. And then they're being exchanged for a significant number of Palestinian prisoners. As you point out, there's this ratio, right? For every 1 female soldier, which these are going to be 4 female soldiers between the ages of 19 and 20, they're going to release 50 Palestinian prisoners, some of whom have life sentences. So these are people that the Hamas wants back. And so this is sort of the trade that's going to happen. And they want an extended ceasefire as well. And if, in fact, these 33 hostages get turned over and about 1,900 Palestinian prisoners come over, then there's talk about moving to a phase 2 where there's a full withdrawal and Hamas is demilitarized.
You mentioned a very astute point that the exchange, again, for female soldiers is 50 Palestinian prisoners. For the civilians that were released last week, it was only 30. They were not soldiers. And here also, I believe 30 of the 50 Palestinians are some serving life sentences for murder and other crimes. The optics of this deal, I know there's some criticism, there's some support to get the hostages home, but it's also very fragile, is it not, still at this point, Mr. Jaffer?
No, that's exactly right, Shanley. And you know well, as a former deputy prosecutor, these are bad people. They've been put away for life. They've obviously sought to kill Israelis. The Israelis have no desire to hand these 30 of the 50 over for each of these female soldiers. So we're talking, a significant number of released detainees just in this one transaction alone. And so it's obviously a real problem, and it's causing controversy within Israel. But at the end of the day, I think at the end of the day, given the length of the war and the length these hostages have been held, and you think about it, these are soldiers, no doubt, but again, still, they're young. They're 19, 20 years old. 3 of the women are 20. One of them is 19. I mean, they've spent nearly 2 years in captivity. It's a real problem.
It really is. I can't even imagine what these 4 young women have gone through over the last 15 months in captivity, not any real connection to the real world. There's a picture on the screen of the 4 young women set to be released at any moment. We were just looking at live photos of the helicopter that will transfer these captives to likely the Gaza border to eventually meet with their family. But we have, I may be butchering their names, but Karina Ariv, 20 years old, Daniela Gilboa, 20 years old, Nama Levy, 20 years old, as well as Liri Albach, who's only 19 years old. And we know that the IDF has been preparing. Of course, they had hostages released last week as well, but they've been preparing with specialized medical teams and hospitals there, because who knows what these young women went through, right?
Oh, that's exactly right. And there's no doubt. I mean, look, as you say, 15 months in captivity in the tunnels beneath Gaza. We know what happened to some of the women who were attacked and assaulted during the attack on October 7th. I happened to have a chance about a month ago to go to Nir Oz, which was one of the kibbutz that was attacked, as well as the site of the Nova Music Festival. And the things that were done to these men and women, but particularly women, are so disturbing and vile. It's hard to even imagine. And so these young female soldiers, who knows what horror they've gone through in the last 15 months.
Exactly. I remember one of these hostages actually back on October 7th. I remember the viral video of Hamas kidnapping her and taking her hostage in her sweatpants. She had blood on her. And now that's Nama Levy, and she will be released today. Mr. Jaffer, please stand by for